Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer, and this is the Road to the Record, where I work to achieve mastery of 10 games in a hunt for the best score of the Decathlon. If you like what you see, remember to hit that like button. If you want to see more, hit subscribe. Let the games begin. This is Draft Day Sports Pro Golf, and I'm into week 42 of the Gaming Decathlon competition. And this is episode number 4, since the reset, the update, version 1.1. And I'm about to wrap up my age 20 season and head into the age 21 season. You can see I took the fatigue all the way down to just a sliver left. But as we head into that age 21 season, October 10, it will reset. So every year resets on October 10. Final analysis of the age 20 season. It's not good. The deterioration is 10 points. So each attribute loses 1 every year. I gained 11 for the entire year. So I literally gained a single attribute this entire season. We'll talk about that a little bit more as we get into the episode on what I would love to see when version 1.2 comes along. But with that, let's go ahead and wrap up the season. The Junior Tour Player of the Year is Parker Jackson of America with 1 win and 13 top 10s this year. The money leader, also Parker Jackson, with $736,000. If I could get winnings like that, we would be just fine. But I wouldn't be playing on very hard if I were earning that kind of money already. With that, better luck next year. I will continue on as we are still in this level. Equipment, how are we doing? It's hanging in there. And I'm currently on the building the coffers stage. And there's that -1 to everything. I'm going to go ahead and start training. And then we'll talk more about that. Now, I took the fatigue down to a sliver. I didn't take it down to nothing. I'm curious to see what happens if it actually drops to nothing. With that, I'm going to go ahead and click Sim Season for a little bit. You can see we're pulling in those copper stars quickly so that we can raise some funds. But I have an idea. I have a thought on what should happen with version 1.2. And how it would make the game still just as challenging as it is, but also a little bit more realistic, and make it stop. Make it possible. Yeah, so we stop training there. Ooh, no. I want to go 19. There we go. Now, here's my 10 points that I have to make up over the course of the year. There's 1. Oh, long irons drop more than 1. Ooh. Oh, that's cruel. Recovery dropped 2 or 3. Oh, that's cruel. Oh. So it's worse than 10. Now that's a head scratcher. Putting dropped by 3. Wedges dropped by 1. Woods dropped by 1. Was that my fatigue or what? Or just now it drops by more than 1? Before, everything dropped by 1. Now all of a sudden I had things drop by 2 or 3. And putting was 55. So, let's see. That's -2, so that's 11. That was -3, so that's 13. This dropped by 2, that's -14. Did Neto go up, though? That's a big question. I think it was a 34. Maybe it went up by 1. By the way, that means I lost 14 attribute points. The whole year last year, I only gained 11. A full year of training, and I only gained 11. Well, okay, so here's my idea. Let me take time to do this, and then I'll focus on trying to get through the year. I need a moment to absorb what just happened, that 4 extra attribute points lost. For one thing, I found 1,000 does work for getting bronze stars there at the end of the season, so that hopefully will allow me to do a lot more training at that level, at 1,000. So I'll try to do that this year and see if I can't earn more than the 11 points that I earned a year ago. Because I trained at 3,000 for a little bit. I trained at 2,000 most of the year. So training at 1,000, that's going to stretch the cash a lot further. But meanwhile, let's reset this. What was I saying? My idea is that the deterioration, the degradation, right? Change it. Just a little. Change it based on age. It makes the game that much more realistic, and it makes it possible to take a young golfer and actually build from nothing and become something, which to me, that is absolutely the dream. That is the goal of this game. I want to take a teenager, turn him into a pro golfer. You can't do that in golf sim games. If you're going to be a golf management game, what are you doing that's different? What are you doing that's unique compared to a golf sim game that's out there? What's your niche? What's special? To me, that's what's special. That is what makes this game something different. And if you can't do that, if you can't take a golfer from nothing to something, what does this game have to offer? So, for me, that's the goal, that's the objective, that's the dream. So there's 5 points recovered now. Got a little bit of cash here. I think that's enough to start training at 1,000. So we still got a lot of recovery to do, especially when it was a -14 this year, not a -10. So training at 1,000. Let's see what we can do, earning some stars. And we'll see what happens with the fatigue, whether it lets me train at all. If my fatigue hits 0, we'll see. I know it should matter on tournaments, but is it going to matter elsewhere? Did that have something to do with why I went from a -10 to a -14? Or did they actually have that based on your age? Well, anyway, let me continue with that as I sim through a few weeks here. And wow, I've picked up 1 bronze. Come on. Come on. Really? Out of money. And I got 1. So that's the thing. The odds just, they're not there. How am I supposed to get better? if the odds are that bad in the training. That's 5 points that I've picked up on the year. And I'm down to 12,000, so I'm going to have to go back to the cheap training. That was 1,000. I don't know, can't even get anything. Alright, anyway. When you're older, and if you're like myself and a little bit older, I'm not old yet. I'm just about almost hitting middle age, but as you get older, especially plus 30, really start to notice year by year, body doesn't feel quite as good as it did. You're a little bit slower, you lose a step. I'll tell you, I'm a soccer player. And a pretty decent soccer player. Part of what made me pretty decent, because I used to not be a decent soccer player. I used to be all speed and no skill. Speed was my thing. I didn't dribble around other players. I would knock the ball past them and then just outrun them. And then once I had them behind me, then I could do something with the ball. And generally, as a winger, that meant cross the ball into the box. And I was pretty good at crossing the ball. So that was my game. That was my entire game. And then the only other aspect of my game that made me okay was I had speed to get back. And 9 times out of 10, I would become a 5th defender and help my team out and get that extra man all the way back. So I was a box-to-box winger. I'd get up and down, and I'd get crosses into the box, create chances for my team. Now, as I got older, I developed my game more. And it's a good thing I have developed my game more. For one thing, now I'm a central defender. But the other big thing is I'm getting slower as I get older. That has nothing to do with how often I play or how much I work out, because I still do that a lot. I play at least 2 games every week and have for years. But I've lost a step. And then there was an injury. Last summer, I tore my calf muscle, and that was rough. And I lost more than a step from that. And I don't know if it's because I still only feel about 98% in terms of recovery from that. It's been, 4 months since I tore my calf? And I'm maybe not 100%. Maybe that's why I'm still... But I feel like I lost another half step from that during that recovery. Now that one could be the fitness side of tearing your calf muscle and being laid up for 4 months. But let's see, I need a couple more weeks of this. Anyway, if you haven't figured this one out, as you get older, you get slower. You have more degradation to your body. So, here's my idea. The older players in the game should have a higher degradation of attributes, but one thing about what's allowed me to still be a good soccer player or a good athlete in general is as I've gotten older, my awareness has improved. My presence of mind kind of in every way. My mental attribute has improved as I've gotten older. I know what I'm doing. So, mental attribute rises. My other parts, my other attributes decrease. Make it realistic. Young players, they have the opposite. They're not going to lose those skills unless they don't practice them. But this is a game where you're supposed to be a professional golfer. So you're not going to lose, right? You're not going to lose those skills. My season starts October 10. My season ends October 9 of each year. So I'm not taking time off. I'm not going away. And here comes that big test. Fatigue is about to hit 0. I'm going to go one more week. We'll see what happens. Do I drop dead? I'm so curious. Anyway, your skills don't go away when you work on them. But mental attribute starts really low. Maybe when you go to create a golfer, maybe you create a cap. Oh, see, that didn't drop anymore. Okay, so it doesn't go any lower. That's good to know. Anyway, if it were me, I would put a cap on the mental attribute when you're creating a golfer if they're young. If they're old, no cap. Maybe that's hard to do. Maybe that's hard to code. But, point being, a young teenage golfer, they're naturally going to get stronger. They're naturally going to improve mental. And they're not going to lose other attributes. So, if it were me, I would have in the coding that the youngest players, this is all totally based on age, should actually grow in power 2 or 3 attribute points each year. Grow in mental ability 2 or 3 attribute points each year. Then, as they hit the mid-20s to 30s, no change, no alteration. As they hit 30s, you start to see a decrease. So let's say if there's 10 attributes, maybe 5 attribute points go away. Now you get to 35 plus, you lose 1 attribute point. Now what that's going to do is that's going to allow a young golfer in this game to improve. That's going to have older golfers decrease in ability. That's natural. That's life. That's realistic. And I think that would be something that could definitely go into an update. I think that would be a possibility. All right, we're back up to 22,000. Let's go ahead and start training again at our higher level. And let's see if I can't get something. Now, I have 0 when it comes to energy. My fatigue is totally gone. So I could not go to a tournament right now. That would be a disaster waiting to happen. But I'm focused totally on training right now, especially after I dropped 14 and not 10 attribute points this year. I have no idea if fatigue has anything to do with that or not. I wish I knew. I really do. Because if I was fully fresh, would I not take that negative? Would it be a 0? Would it be a minus 10? Would it be what I ended up with? Did I get minus 14 because I'm been in the game 3 years now and not 1? I wish there was an explanation or just some way of knowing why something like that happens the way that it did. I just trained in an entire week and got 0 stars. 0. 7 days of training and I got 0 stars. Now, was that because of fatigue? Again, I don't know. Do I need to be fresh for that to work? No, I just got a star, but we'll see what did I get this week? That's more like it. I got 4 stars in 7 days. That makes sense. So I just had some really, really bad luck there, apparently. So we're going to trade in those 2. We're going to downgrade that one and collect 5,000, and then that gives me 2 upgrade stars. Now, I had 5 already. I've had a 6th, so this will make 7 and 8 for the year. So, that's 8. I still have a deficit of 6, and it's already near the end of February. You can see just how challenging this is, at least in its current format. I should be able to develop more rapidly than this. But again, I'm playing on very hard. Now, if I were making cuts and earning money, I could train at a higher value and develop those attributes. It's just getting to that point. And we've built a sustainable model on the cash flow part, but now it's about the development part that I think might need that little more tweaking. Don't punish the young golfers. It's really kind of the main point. Allow them to develop. Because last year I only gained 11 attribute points, right? I mean, if we're talking 1 to 100 on 10 separate attributes, right? 11 points is a 1.1% improvement as a golfer. That's peanuts. That's tiny, tiny little itty bitty bits. You know, if you only improve 1% in a year, that's not a good year. But when I subtract 10 away from that, I actually only improved by 0.1% last year. And now I had a minus 14 this year. And I've got to try to overcome that now. Now, I tried to keep things in the green, and it didn't seem to have any difference. I wasn't collecting more stars than I am now, or at least I think. But again, there's no explanation that's going to tell me, right? I mean, fatigue here actually has no... Maybe I'll have to check the help. After this episode, maybe I'll look up in help, see if there is something about fatigue in there. I have no explanation as to what fatigue affects. And that would be certainly helpful to know in this situation. Cash is kind of low, but not totally gone, but it's low enough that we need to raise the funds a little bit. I like that I've made plus 8 by this point, and if it was only the minus 10, hey, that's not too shabby. That would be a much better year than I had last year. Again, I trained at a higher rate than I did. And I think next year I'll be helped by having mechanics drop. If I were to start over, which I'm not planning on, I've started over so many times, but if I were, I would commit heavily to 55, 55, 55, 55, and then zeros. So not just, I think I had 3 of these below the 30 mark. I would have like 5 or 6 below the 30 mark, because you can get 0 to 30 pretty easy, especially with the new sustainable model, with the training that we're doing. So that you can get, but getting from 30 to 55 right now, I'm finding, is a huge challenge, especially with that -1 each year. And when I drop below 30, it's really easy to get that back. Because I can get this first star quite easily. I can't get this bronze star very easily. And that's where this struggle is. And when I'm losing 10 of those, or if I'm losing 8 of those, it takes 8 to recover, just to recover. Right? But if I have 6 of these and 4 of these to recover each year, well, you're seeing where it's easier to recover the bronze, even easier to recover the copper than it is to recover the bronze. So I'm kind of planning on building these attributes one at a time, get it to 55, and then I'll work on that next one, which right now is recovery. But recovery, I was up to 38 last year at the end of the season. Now it's only a 35, so I think that's actually a minus 15. But I think maybe I gained 1 on mental. I just couldn't tell you for sure. All right. Enough rambling. Let's commence with the training. Looks like at this point, I could just about get away with 2 to 3 weeks of money raising style training to get 1 or 2 weeks, depending on what you get out of it. 1 or 2 weeks of minimal training, looking for the bronze stars. See, that was only 10. I really didn't gain much there. I think I was at 19, maybe? Maybe not. Maybe that was an okay week. Anyway, very hard is very hard. That is what it's supposed to be. But I don't think I need to be 99 before I can ever make a cut. And I think that's really, that's a pretty small tweak. That's a pretty small change. And I think it would go far. Because if my golfer is, 55 years old, I would expect that golfer at 55, right, if we're doing it like a career style mode, and we don't just randomly throw in our actual age, that 55-year-old golfer, well, they're not going to be a rookie coming out picking up clubs for the first time. They're going to be the established pro who's already built up their attributes. So to have those fall away, to have those decrease, well, yeah, that makes sense. But to have the young players' attributes fall away and decrease when they're learning the game, when they're growing into the game, they should be able to improve more rapidly. But instead of having a totally different training or practice model for young players versus old players, I really think it just comes down to that end of the year, that deterioration piece, that degradation piece. So instead of everybody losing 10, 15, the young players stay the same or improve slightly, while the old players decrease. The oldest players decrease more. And then you're getting that natural evolution through age. I don't know. Let me know in the comments what you think on this, especially if you've played the game some yourself by this point. Whether what I'm saying makes sense, whether that sounds good, whether you think that would kind of get this to that next level, because I've already said how much happier I am with version 1.1 than the initial launch, which was horribly balanced. It was not very playable at all. But now, right, that next step, the 2 steps forward, 2 steps back, isn't going to work. So when you're young, you should be able to just take 2 steps forward, 2 steps forward, 2 steps forward, and build. As you get a little bit older, mid-20s, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. That makes sense. As you get into your 30s, 2 steps forward, 2 steps back. Right? That makes... I don't know. Sounds like it makes sense. Like I said, let me know in the comments what you think on that. And help me out with this idea. I think it's high time that I actually get on the forums and relay that message to the developers to see how it goes. I don't know if it was me that they were listening to with that update to version 1.1 on having this sustainable model at the bottom, or if that was somebody else on the forums that mentioned the same thing, that had the same idea. But it's worked wonders. I mean, this game is so much more playable than it was then, especially, and I said this at the beginning of the episode, that's their market, is taking a golfer from nothing and growing into a tour champion. You just don't get that on the golf sims. You go out and like the most recent game that just released a few weeks back. I have not played it, but I've looked into it a little bit. It does have a model where and it's got a PGA Tour license, where you do start in a lower tour and you work your way up. However, from day one, you step onto a course and you can immediately be perfect. You can immediately win the tour that you're competing in if you're good enough at the game. Nice, that was a good payday. Alright, so let's go ahead and set this back again, and let's see if we can't get out of that hole that is 8. Now, I have no fatigue. This would be the perfect time, it's April, to participate in a tournament, but I'm not able to like that, so we would either have to take like a week off and rest like every day for a week to recover some fatigue. So far, nothing is showing up here in the training. Not one bronze star at this point. There's a silver, so that'll translate into 1 star. And okay, a couple silvers. And let's keep that going. Still got 26,000. Silver's the best at this point that I can get. Coppers don't do me any good other than getting me back the money I'm spending. And that's straight 1 for 1 because it costs 1,000. Getting 1,000. So come on. Bronze, silver. Bronze, silver. Knock that copper stuff off. It's better than nothing. I mean, at least it, pays back what you spent. But still at 19,000. Let's keep going for another week here. Push it into the middle of May, though. So if I am going to compete in a tournament this year, I do need to make that happen here. So I think as soon as I bring this down, I'll make whatever improvements I can make. But again, I'm still in the negative. There's a bronze finally. So I've got 2 silvers and a bronze right now in the bank. Oh, and a gold! Nice. The gold's going to bring in a pretty penny and allow me to keep training for a while. Alright, so here you go. So here's going to be 3 attribute points. So that's going to get me up to 11, which would put me in the plus if it was only minus 10. But I took a minus 14 for whatever reason this year, which means I'm still minus 3. I'm going to sell that gold. I'll downgrade these 2, so that's 20,000. That's a good payday. Right? What do I get if I were to sell it? Only 8,000. So I lose 12,000. If I turn around and trade it again, that's 3,000. So I'm only getting 11,000. I lose $9,000 to get that 1 star. To me, that one's not worth it. This one, I'm only losing, 5,000. Cost me 5,000 for that one. But that's a lot better than 9,000, right? Okay. So we're going to trade in 2 of those. We're going to sell 1 of those and sell 9 of those. And that's 35,000. I'm actually out ahead right now for a change. And I'm going to have 3 stars to upgrade. That was by far the best stretch of training that we've had in this playthrough. And it's about time. But again, it's still minus 3 for this year. Finally got those 3 topped off again in recovery. Starting to climb up. I'm going to get this one to 55 before I ever start working on the next, which I plan on being either mental or one of the irons if that drops below 30 before I ever get that to happen. But hey, that's progress, and I still can continue training at 1,000. Happy days. Oh, clubs are wearing down. So I'm going to have to spend money on that again. And there's a new Bronze Star. New clubs. And this is another one that I have no idea what kind of impact it actually has. I understand what club quality and familiarity and club life, I understand what those terms mean, but it'd be nice if I knew what is their impact in the game. Why should I be spending the extra money on these clubs? Right? Inquiring minds want to know. Alright, so we're still training at that 1,000 mark. Oh, I said this was going to be the time. I need to get my tournament in for the year, but that means I need to recover fatigue. So let's make it all rest. Da-da-da-da. And we're going to take a week off and see how much fatigue recovers. I'll have one Bronze Star. Okay, it's coming up. If that's 2 days, yeah, I was going to say I'm still going to be in the red. It's going to take at least another week here. Well, 2, 3. It's going to take like 4 weeks just to get back into the green. That's a lot of time off. I don't want to take a full month off. Maybe we just get back to the yellow. Yeah, so this goes right back to that. I don't know the impact of fatigue. Where and how does it affect me? Because I'm in the orange. I'm going to go to the Pines. Now, I'm guessing that this means I'm going to have a really bad tournament. That's my guess. But I don't know that that's the case. Recovery. There we go. That's what, 12 now? So still -2. So I'm worse than I was last time that I participated in a tournament. And fatigued, so I'm guessing this is going to be ugly. But let's go ahead and head to the Pines. It's sunny, mild winds. We're playing with Emiliana Allen and James Howard. And I'm in the blue today. And I missed the first fairway. Great shot from Emiliana there. And that was not a bad shot from me. We're on the green at least. Missed the putt, but that was a pretty long one. It was over 30 feet. Should be a tap in for par. All right, par on the first hole. That's a good start. Fairway on the second hole. Continuing that trend. Missed the green, but at least it's still in an extended fairway behind the green. And good third shot. Should be a back-to-back par here. Now, this is going to be a lot less about watching and more about just checking and seeing where the score is. So I'm only going to watch these first 3 holes, and then I'll go ahead and start simming through and see how we do. That was a pretty good first 2 shots here. And while that's about 12 to 15 feet out, it's maybe 12 feet out. And it's in. That's a birdie. That is a birdie. Wow. So through 3 holes, I'm actually a -1. That was a difficult couple shots. We're going to give that stroke right back here. And let's go ahead and start simming through the round. Yeah, that was a bogey. Saw that one coming. Poor second shot. Not a good third shot either. Another bogey on the 6th. That's just +1 through the front 9. No, +2 through the front 9. Drop another stroke on the 9th hole. Nice little par streak going. Ended in the 13th though. 2 more strokes dropped. And 2 more dropped. So we dropped 4 strokes on the back 9. That's a +7 for the round. And that's definitely out of cut range, guaranteed. And that's another bad one. At least a +8, if not a +10 for the round. And so we go back to training every day. And click Sim Season here for a little bit. Okay, we picked up Copper Star. 2 more Copper Stars. So 3 Copper Stars already. Of course, those are totally useless, other than recovering the day's training. 4 now. And that was a week. Still nothing but copper. And that's why I tried to avoid the $1,000 trainings in the past. But that is where I am getting the occasional bronze. There's one. That'll bring me to, what, -1 now for the year? All copper after that, so still not drawn level just yet. But unlike last year, where I only was a +1, I think, at least based on the time scale here, that I will get a bit further beyond that this year. Maybe. If I keep getting nothing but copper, that's not going to happen. There's another bronze. So that'll be enough to draw us level for the year. Alright, so we've got 9 to trade in. 2 upgrades coming. Now, recovery is where it was a year ago. And now it's higher. But mechanics is a -1 from last year. And mental, I think... Oh, see, it was a 36. So it's a -1 also. So I didn't gain anything there, which means I'm actually still -1. I lost 15 points. That was a 36 because they were both 35 last year, and I was trying to decide which one to improve upon. Yeah, maybe. Oh, memory. It's a fickle thing. Anyway. So there's still a -1 or 2 -1s. So that +1, while everything else is the same. Still not quite leveling things off, and it's now into July. I can still do some training for now, though. We're holding the cash level a little bit better, especially the that gold star that we picked up. Really helping with that. I think I just picked up another bronze star. 10,000, that's where I draw the line. And nothing good came out of that one, so we're going to have to switch back down to the 500 model and continue training. But I am out of time, but it looks like we've already broken even. So anything from now to the end of the year will be improvement. But as late as it is in the year, don't expect fireworks. Maybe I gain another 5 attribute points. I wouldn't expect more than that. So it's improvement. It's inching my way along. But I might be 90 before I can even make a cut at that rate. Because 5 attribute points is a 0.5% improvement of my golfer, and I'm not going to suddenly start making cuts with that small of a gain. Now, once you start making cuts and start earning that cash, well, then you can spend more on training and you get to develop those attributes a lot faster. But getting there in that first place, I think being really young should have something to go with that. But I've said that repeatedly, so it is a struggle, but a struggle is what I wanted, so I'm happy with it on that sense. So I think just that small tweaking will make all the difference. Almost there. But that is all the time that I do have for this week. So I'm getting there. I'm just inching my way along. But at least from the financial side of it, we are sustainable. And I am making improvement, albeit slowly. But that's going to do it for this episode. I'm Decathlon Gamer. And remember, I'm aiming for the best of the best. So if you're ready to join me on my journey, hit subscribe. And tune in next time on my road to the record. Bye for now.